auflegen, mich auf die Tanzfläche bewegen und nun geht es los.
You are listening to Däs Bündesliga Show here on the Lock Betting Podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on X at Lock Betting X. That's at Lock Betting X. The pinned tweet on that account will always be the profit and loss spreadsheet from the previous month. We now have 129 months in a row of transparent and track profit. All of the other spreadsheets are down the page if you want to scroll down, but they're much easier to find by going over to lockbetting.com, where you can also sign up for the service. If you have any questions, my DMs are open at lockbettingx. That's at lockbettingx as we look for month number 130 of consecutive transparent and track profit here for the month of March. Let's move on with this edition of Däs Bundesliga Show. We're going to cover 4 games from this weekend's slate. We begin with Bayern Munich's trip to Darmstadt, where Bayern Munich are unbackable as a 1-8 minus 800 favourite. It's 17-2 on the draw, and Darmstadt here are the 16-1 underdogs. Darmstadt are down. There's no way they're getting out of this season. They are going back down to Bundesliga 2. They are currently 5 points behind Cologne, who are only in the relegation playoff position, but 12 points behind Bochum, who are the first team who are in the safety positions of 15th spot. So there's no way Darmstadt are getting out of this. They have a minus 36 goal differential, 16 losses in 25, 7 draws and just 2 wins. And when you have a minus 36 goal differential, you do not want to be playing against Bayern Munich, off the back of Bayern Munich winning by 8-1 last weekend. This should be where Bayern Munich pick up some momentum. They should be looking ahead to the game against Arsenal, and they should be going into that Champions League tie off the back of a winning run, and they should also be putting pressure on Bayer Leverküsen, who in my opinion, despite the fact they're still winning games, have looked a little bit more susceptible in recent weeks. So if you've been watching Leverkusen's performances carefully, you'll see that they're not quite the same team. Teams have worked out how to play against them. That side-to-side quick movement of the ball and opening teams up, that isn't quite working as well as it did. Now, if you look at the record, they're still winning games. But if you actually watch the matches, you'll see that they're not quite as cutting, they're not quite as dangerous. And Bayern Munich will play all the way to the end, especially after what happened last season. And if they can close the gap at all this weekend, they'll be even more hopeful that they can somehow manage to catch Leverkusen. But in order for that to even be a possibility, Bayern Munich need to hold up their end of the bargain, which is to continue winning games. And they'll probably need to win every single game between now and the end of the season. I see them winning this one, and I see them winning it emphatically. I'm going to take Bayern Munich to win both halves of this game. I don't think that Darmstadt can hang with them for any of the 2 45-minute periods. If Bayern Munich come out the blocks fast, there's going to be no stopping them here, and I think they're going to be able to run up the score once again. I almost feel that this team are playing more freely now. I almost think last week's performance told us that Bayern Munich have given up on this title. There is no pressure now. If they can close the gap, great. If they don't win it, nobody expects them to win from this point. The double-digit lead that Leverkusen built off the back of Bayern Munich dropping points at Freiburg basically made this insurmountable. And now we're getting a more relaxed version of Bayern Munich in the league. Now, Will they succumb to that pressure against Arsenal in the Champions League? Maybe they will. But they certainly didn't succumb to that pressure against Lazio. They did a very professional job in a must-win game. And perhaps that's been the turning point for Bayern Munich, who got 2 excellent results last season, especially by this season's standards. 3-0 home to Lazio and an 8-1 win as well. I see them winning comfortably here. I'm going to take them to win both halves of this game at the price of even money plus 100. Up next, we jump across to the late game where Hoffenheim are hosting Stuttgart, where Hoffenheim are the 14-5 home underdogs. It's 16-5 on the draw, and it's 4-5 here on Stuttgart. Not comfortable taking Stuttgart as a odds-on favourite here. They have won their last 3 league away games, but in every single one of those games, both teams have scored. Meanwhile, Hoffenheim, they come into this one having failed to win 4 of their last 5 home Bundesliga games, which does explain the price here on Stuttgart, along with the fact they're third in the table. But BTTS has landed in 4 of their last 5 games. I see goals here in this game. I do believe that we will get at least 3 goals. And I also think both teams here will contribute towards the scoring. Hoffenheim have conceded an average of 1.8 goals across their last 10 home games and are without key defenders here through suspension, while Stuttgart have scored 2 or more goals in 7 of their last 8 games in all competitions. But they've not kept an away clean sheet since October. So for me, this points towards Stuttgart winning this game, but conceding along the way. So if Stuttgart are to win this game, they're probably going to need to score 2 goals. That lends itself to BTTS with over 2.5 goals being tacked on. We're going to take that as our main play here for this game at the price of 4-5, minus 125. I also like Stuttgart and BTTS. That's definitely worth a sprinkle. But I think the safer way to take this is to go for a safer way to play this is to go for goals, and that's what we're going to do here for this one. Up next, we're going to cover both of the Sunday games. We start with the one here, the 2:30 kickoff between Freiburg and leaders Leverküsen, where Leverkusen are the 1-2 favourites to win this. It's 16-5 on the draw, and it's 19-4 here on Freiburg. Freiburg not having a great season. They've competed for the European places and for the Champions League even in recent seasons. But they currently come into this game in 8th position with 9 wins from 25 and 10 defeats and a minus 11 goal difference. Leverkusen will definitely fancy their chances of winning here and staying top. But Bayern Munich didn't win here. And Leverkusen needed 2 goals in injury time to get past Karabakh in the Europa League on Thursday. So that was a big emotional win from them. They also needed Karabakh to be reduced down to 10 men. Karabakh knew how to play against Leverkusen with 11 men. They put men behind the ball and they actually scored their opening goal on the counter-attack and then even scored their second goal on the counter as well, whilst reduced down to 10 men. These are not good signs for Leverkusen, and Freiburg in recent seasons has been a very, very difficult place to go to. I think if Bayern Munich have any chance of winning the league this season, they are going to need a favour from Freiburg. They're going to need a favour from Dortmund. They're going to need a favour from Stuttgart. These are some of the tougher games that Leverkusen face. And this is definitely one of them. Going to Freiburg is no picnic. Just ask Bayern Munich, who already dropped points here. Freiburg have won 5 of their 12 home matches. They've drawn 5 and they've only lost twice at home. I'm going to take a chance here on Freiburg to get a positive result. I'm not going to take them on the double chance market to avoid a defeat, but I will take them with a plus 1 goal start and say that Leverkusen don't win here convincingly by 2 goals, because they'll need to win by 2 goals for us to lose this selection. If they win by just a single goal, we do get ourselves a push. If Freiburg avoid a defeat here, they end up winning the bet for you. So we're going to take Freiburg plus 1. This is not Freiburg on the double chance market. This is Freiburg plus 1. So we are protected, as I mentioned, if they do lose by 1 goal. We only lose if they lose by 2 or more. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is going to be a competitive game. And I actually like Freiburg to get something from it. I think Leverkusen will drop points between now and the end of the season. Realistically, I don't think they'll drop enough points for Bayern Munich to overtake them, as I don't see Bayern Munich getting getting all of the points available to them between now and the end of the season. I don't see Bayern Munich finishing with a 100% record between now and the end of the season, and I believe that's why Leverkusen will see it out. I don't think Leverkusen will win by 10 points. I think it will be closer to somewhere between 4 and 6, but I still think the lead is too big. But I think if there's any chance of Bayern Munich even scaring Leverkusen, they do need to drop points this weekend away to Freiburg. This should be a difficult trip for them. And I'm going to take Freiburg +1 here at the price of 10-11. For our final game, we look at a game here between Borussia Dortmund and Eintracht Frankfurt, where Borussia Dortmund here are a 4-6 -150 favourite at home, where they've been so solid this season. Eintracht Frankfurt here are a 4-1 underdog, and it's 10-3 here on the draw. I think Borussia Dortmund win this game, and they'll need to, because Leipzig have won tonight convincingly, and Dortmund and Leipzig are going back and forth for the final Champions League spot, and that's probably going to carry on until the end of the season. Dortmund have won 6 of the last 10 home league games, scoring 21 goals in the process. That's not great for Dortmund, but it's probably good enough to beat an Eintracht Frankfurt team who have lost 3 of the last 7 away league games and have conceded 2 or more goals 5 times en route to that. As for Dortmund, they've only kept 1 home clean sheet in the last 7 and will probably concede to this Frankfurt team who've only failed to score in 2 of the last 10 league road trips. So Borussia Dortmund with over 2.5 goals tacked on actually gets you to plus money. You don't need to take BTTS. You can just take over 2.5 goals tacked on, and that can win with Dortmund just scoring the 3 goals by themselves. That's a plus money play at 11-10. For a safer play, I would just take Borussia Dortmund on the money line. They did a very, very professional job getting through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League with their victory against PSV. I see something similar here. The visitors are regaining their confidence after a flat spot this campaign, but this does look like they will suffer another away defeat, in my opinion, given that they have lost 3 of the last 7 road Bundesliga games and have conceded 2 or more in 5 of them, as I mentioned. And this is obviously one of the more difficult trips that you can have in Germany, travelling to Borussia Dortmund. Closing out with your lock on the show, we're going to go back to Bayern Munich here. Bayern Munich to win both halves of their game against Darmstadt at the price of even money +100. This hasn't been a great team for us to bet on recently. Bayern Munich have cost us some money. They have cost us some locks. But over the years, this team have been free money. So I'm not ready to jump off the Bayern Munich train just yet. Thomas Tuchel is leaving at the end of the season. It's fair to say that has not been a successful appointment. They scraped their way to the Bundesliga title last season when it did look like Julian Nagelsmann did have it comfortably in hand. And they also exited the Cup and the Champions League. This season, they look like they're going to miss out to Bayer Leverküsen, and Thomas Tuchel will leave at the end of the season. So that has not been a successful appointment, but this is still a team full of world-class players. This is still a team who had 2 great results last week, including scoring 8 last weekend. They're coming up against the worst team in the top flight in Germany, and I like Bayern Munich to win both of the 45-minute periods here in this one. That's it for me. Good luck with all of your bets as always, and thanks for listening.